What's up next, Ben?
So this leads us on to talking about another little bit of more ground-based Warhammer 40,000 news. And last week we had a little bit of speculation about the sort of Crusade mode of play within the new edition of 40k. Pardon me. So the Crusade.
Guess who's got a haircut for it?
Me. Yeah, there you go. This is the Scout style. Yeah.
Sorry, this is just going to amuse me forever. I love it.
So with Crusade, what you do is that you set up a narratively focused force. So you begin the game with 50 power. So power is the sort of like wide-reaching sort of way of building an army within 40k that doesn't require you to do the minutiae of grenades and all that kind of thing and that stuff. So you make a 50 power force based on a whole bunch of different units, and then when you come to play games, you'll draw from that in order to put together your forces to play on the table. So for example, a start collecting set would probably be around sort of like 50 power when you get it.
So something like this then?
So that's one of the new Primaris Phobos ones, I believe, for the start collecting stuff. Then from there, any game you play will then earn your army experience. Now, that experience could be put towards earning new war gear and sort of like iconic weapons and guns and that kind of thing. It could be to increasing your sort of power limit so that you can buy more units to go into your army and that kind of thing. So a good way of, sort of being like, what's the next unit you want to buy, sort of like from Games Workshop, go out and get that, add it to your army. That's part of your sort of expansion of the army kind of thing going forward. But as well as sort of earning experience and getting new weapons and new units and that kind of thing, there's also what's called the battle scar system in there as well. So characters, maybe unit leaders, vehicles and that kind of thing can take damage when they die and that kind of stuff. And that could have negative effects within your characters. Not so much that they are completely useless, but it kind of adds a little bit more sort of like character into the mix. Like one of the ones they talked about was sort of like walking wounded. So you could have a Space Marine captain that is now sort of like a little bit, had his leg blasted off by an orc or something. And so now his movement is a little bit more reduced in game, but sort of adds to the character of everything going forward. You can play a Crusade army against anybody. You just have to sort of agree with your opponent, as you would do with any game. Can I use my Crusade army, etc.? Because it might have a few bits and pieces sort of added on. And you just have to sort of sit down for a little while and calculate a little bit of the balancing between the two forces. But it's pretty simple to do. But then what that effectively means, whatever game you play, if you want to make it a narratively focused force, you can just use your Crusade force against anyone and move forward from there. So it's a really interesting way of sort of building up from that kind of start collecting set and adding lots of character and story and narrative to your force legitimately through the rules, I think, which is really cool.
So you're talking about the start collecting set. So if I just go to our own story, this sort of stuff here, you're talking about pick one of these up and then just expand it a little bit.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Because I think it's interesting they've gone with the power system, which makes a lot of sense because theoretically power system is for fun, easy pickup games. It's not hardcore. It's not the Battle Forged. I've got 1997 points that I've worked out meticulously. You're just going 50 points. It's the equivalent of 1,000-point army or whatever it happens to be, and you're picking from it. You're not going, this is always what I've got. So if you're expanding your roster through winning, you're not expanding what your opponent's going to be facing. You're expanding the pool you can draw from. And that is a balancing mechanism in and of itself, because we were worried it was going to be the usual campaign creep where one person wins and at that point they become unassailable because they'll just keep winning and keep getting better and better. Whereas here you've got that, I've got 50 points, you've got 70 points, but we're both playing 30 points of that. So yes, you've got a bit more to pick from than me, but we're still on a level playing field as far as this game goes. And even when it comes to playing somebody who's not part of the campaign, power is power, going, oh, well, you've got your campaign force. Well, I've got these Seraphim over here that are tooled to the nines because they can be. Who cares? Go nuts.
Yeah, I think it's a really good idea. I mean, they've pushed this kind of idea in Kill Team and Warcry on the sort of Age of Sigmar front as well. And one of the big things with Warcry is that you could play your warband against anybody, and that would allow you to progress it and sort of take it through the sort of narrative of that force. So having that thing sort of bolted into the main rules of the new edition of 40k, I think is a really good idea. And it kind of plays into the idea of that sort of gaming in the gaps that we've always talked about as well, where you come up with cool ideas for your characters and that kind of thing. Like the amount of times I've played 40k and done campaigns with my friends back in the day, and even though things went terribly badly for my force, there was always something cool and characterful that came out of it, with like a crew commander or someone that was able to kill a whole bunch of scouts or something like that. And then he got dragged down, so he took like a little bit of ballistic skill off him or something, and that kind of thing. It's all just that kind of nice, gooey story stuff that I think really ties together games of 40k and Warhammer Fantasy and Age of Sigmar.
Why
and stuff,
are your orcs wearing top hats?
Exactly, yeah. We stole them from a hatchery.
Show you now why my orcs are wearing top hats, and you're going to regret mocking them.
Exactly, yeah. It's that kind of cool stuff that allows you to do things like converting and that kind of stuff in the future. Say your guy loses an eye, well, try and do some converting for bionics and that kind of thing. Cool stuff like that. So, yeah.
Sweet. Just before we move on from 40k stuff, you guys were looking at new releases and stuff that are coming up last week.
We were looking at the Space Marines and the Necrons.
I had this epic picture that popped up.
Mm-hmm.
Did it have all this text on it for a start? What is that?
Did, yes.
I was looking at that and thinking, if one of us put all this text on this.
No, this was them, and this is how we were navigating around this picture, going, what about the such and such? Do you mean the womp, or do you mean the look at the size of that thing? I mean the womp. Okay, fair enough.
Because I love the what is that? And this other thing over here, because I looked at them and I thought, do you know what? With all the 15 mil ranges and stuff we've been looking at recently, these would make epic tripods from Mars.
They would, yeah.
Weirdly, the 12-inch final version of War of the Worlds arrived at my house this week.
No.
Oh yeah. The chances of anything coming from Mars
are 1,000,000 to 1, he said.
So yes.
Oh dear.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely well, they're not tripods because they got 4 legs. Quad pods.
I love the bit where there's what's the Wrathchild, or what's the ship called? And they're all getting on the ship and trying to sail away, and it's shooting at the tripod.
Oh yes.
Downs one of them and stuff. Oh, I'm gonna have to go and listen to this. I have.
Oh, you really should.
On CD, but not vinyl, Jerry. Vinyl.
What the hell's a CD? It's Richard Burton's narration as well.
Oh, cool.
I ran up Primrose Hill and its resolve took me. I would give myself then and there to the Martians.
If you've never listened to this, Ben, you have to do this after.
I have not listened to this now.
War of the Worlds.
We'll do it on Discord some night. I'll just play and we'll just stream it.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
Anyway, because you were harshly relegated, Lloyd. You didn't get to play with us while we discussed the new 40k and the Necrons. Notice how none of them are Tau or Crit.
Yeah.
They're not going to get the love at the moment, no.
Here you go, Ben. This is what you're looking for, mate. Oh, where did my big picture go? I had a nice big picture. Where did it go? Oh.
No.
Oh, yes. Here we go. Right.
I was going to say technical fail, but...
This will be one of the best things you'll ever listen to. Go and get yourself this, mate.
I will have to do so.
I'm pretty sure you could probably just listen to it from YouTube. I think
it's probably on there somewhere. Yeah,
an official version of it up somewhere.
Or if you wait until Christmas, Sainsbury's, for some unknown reason, have paid the rights for one of the songs. So during the you know how the supermarkets play shit Christmas music, on repeat.
Yeah.
One of the War of the World songs is on there, and like every 2 to 3 hours it comes round. And you're going, so amongst all this weird Christmas stuff, you just hit a War of the World song. You're
That's brilliant.
Why is that in there? It was the high point of my day when I used to work there. It was just like, oh, I'm so glad, this song is on, and not bloody this is Christmas or so it's Christmas time or sort of Paul McCartney. Don't want to hear you anymore. Anyway.
Oh. But look at the tripods. Look at the tripods. How about using Necron stuff for that? Look at that. Where'd it go?
It would be. Well, I have no idea where it's going.
I've lost my image.
No, well, we can see it, but you're opening everything. It would be interesting, especially when you take what is essentially a 32 mil sci-fi model and then just stick just take a rake of 15 mil World War I and World War II and just have them stomping across the battlefield. How's that for gaming in the caps?
Yeah, it would be very cool. Yeah.
It'd be absolute gaming in the gaps.
This is taking a turn of the surreal, hasn't it? Weren't expecting this when we went Aeronautica Imperialis.
No, I thought 40k.
40k.
There you go. I'm totally doing that, you know, because when you go looking for tripods and stuff, you'll come across ones like model kits from like Pegasus models and stuff like that.
Will.
But they're really hard to get. Like they're out of stock and this, that, and the other. And then there's some other ranges that have done like 15 mil versions, but they're like this small. And I'm thinking, oh, that 28 mil jobby like this with my 15 mil troops, suits me.
Suit you.
Suit you, sir.
Oh. Just look at you like this, sir. Pew, pew, pew.
Yes. Get the album, Ben. Get the album.
It's on the list, all right? Jeez. Okay.